Many farmers have a tough time seeing through the green curtain. It clouds their judgment, believing an alliance to a color is more important than what's best for their operation. For these farmers, a hydrostatic sprayer, like the John Deere 4830, is their application weapon of choice. Equipment Technologies orchestrated a series of field tests to prove there is light shining outside those curtains, comparing the John Deere 4830 to the Apache AS1020. To start, let's compare the two challengers. The John Deere 4830 is a 275 horsepower machine with traction control to give off the impression of four-wheel drive by regulating flow. It weighs in at 23,435 pounds. That's with an empty product tank. The Apache AS1020 has a 173 horsepower engine and two-wheel drive. With an empty product tank, the sprayer comes in at 19,500 pounds. That's nearly 4,000 pounds lighter. The extra weight on the John Deere 4830 comes from the machine's wheel motors, added oil hoses, and other pieces to make a hydrostat go. For equal comparison during the testing, both the 4830 and the Apache AS1020 were loaded with 1,000 gallons of water. We created a field course for the John Deere 4830 and Apache AS1020 to run, complete with two 8% grades. Soil conditions were primarily wet to sloppy after heavy rains the morning before the test. Speed, RPM, and elevation were tracked using sophisticated GPS tracking, and CAN data from the sprayers recorded items such as the average fuel rates and decibels reached inside the cab. Both sprayers ran the course multiple times, and the results were averaged. While speeds carried by each sprayer over the two inclines varied, we found the Apache AS1020 to keep a higher average speed while completing the course. Results more telling were comparing fuel consumption between the two. In both second and third range, with the product pump turned on and off, the John Deere 4830's average fuel rate came in at 11.66 gallons per hour. As for the Apache AS1020 in the same scenario, the Apache registered a dramatically more efficient 8.67 gallons per hour, burning approximately 30% less fuel in the process than the John Deere 4830. While the two-wheel drive Apache AS1020 provided better fuel economy than the John Deere 4830, the Apache's limited slip differential kept the two rear wheels from spinning out. The hydraulically linked suspension also gave the operator the feeling of control as it kept the machine level and the bounces to a minimum maneuvering through the field. The four-wheel drive system of the John Deere 4830 created a machine that was very difficult to navigate in a single direction. With all four wheels spinning, the machine tended to slide while maneuvering up and down hills rather than pushing through the mud. Engineers driving the John Deere 4830 said the experience was very similar to driving on ice. Beyond the traction, the air ride suspension created a buckling feeling as the machine crossed ruts and drove through holes. This front-to-back rolling sensation, along with the sliding, produced an operator experience that felt as if one was just along for the ride and had no control of the machine. During the field test, the John Deere 4830 found itself holding up the show. Attempting to cross a shallow ditch in the field, the heavier sprayer found itself stuck and unable to pull itself out. All of the tires spinning and mud flinging in the world couldn't get the John Deere 4830 to budge.
Going through some pretty loose soil. It was grassy, so there was a little bit of sod there and a little bit of a ditch, and with traction control on or off, I cannot get that machine to move. It's stuck. It's there. So the machine is loaded. It's got 1,000 gallons in it. but it does not have enough power to pull itself out or to spin the tires.
Are you surprised?
I am, actually.
Then, for a second time, while going up the first 8% grade incline of the test course, the John Deere 4830 incapable of pulling itself out. In the end, it was the Apache AS1020 once again retrieving the John Deere 4830 from the mud. Besides the noticeable difference in performance between the John Deere 4830 and the Apache AS1020 in the field, there was a noticeable audible difference in their cabs. Our data recording devices also captured decibel readings from inside the cab. The readings were collected from 1,000 RPM to above 2,400 RPM. The results were ear-ringing. The John Deere 4830, when above 2,400 RPM, reached 79.6 decibels. The Apache AS1020 reached just above 71 decibels. These results show the Apache AS1020 to have a quieter cab than the John Deere 4830. In an ultimate test of tractive effort, the two machines were tethered together with the two recovery straps for a tug of war. Immediately, the Apache AS1020 hooked up and began dragging the Deere. While moving backwards, the Deere's rear tires would not spin, but the front tires were turning. There were several instances of no movement in either direction, but the Apache's back tires were consistently turning. After several minutes, when all was said and done, the Apache AS1020 had dragged the John Deere 4830 approximately 30 yards. What a difference it makes throwing back the green curtain. That's why the Apache is the businessman's sprayer. It's for the guy willing to look beyond color and really consider what matters to make sure they choose the superior product. Brand loyalty only gets you so far. Test results don't lie. The Apache AS1020 is the superior sprayer.